comes from someone by the name of Randy Pausch. He was a professor at a university, and he ended up getting cancer. And it was a tradition at this university for professors on the last day of their class to present to students what they called their last lecture. Okay. Well, in K-12 education, we don't really call them lectures, we call them lessons. But the reason why this is important is that this gentleman, he got cancer and he knew he was dying, and he had a couple of kids that he wanted to present to them his last words of wisdom, because he knew he wasn't going to be around for the rest of their life, and he wanted to share with them all of the pearls of wisdom that he had gained in his relatively young life. So I get this idea from him, and I want to make sure I give him credit for that. So the first slide you see here is a Wordle. It's a word cloud from Wordle.net, and I just typed in some of the main things that I thought we focused on this year. Obviously, the largest one here is history. Okay. Then there's some words in green, like Edmodo, like edublogs, like wikis, CBA, world, as in world history. And then there's some things in blue that you can't see, like Washington history. Economics is in blue. This idea over here of research. Okay? So I'm going to be talking to you about the content of the class that we had. I'm going to be talking to you about some of the technology that we used. I'm going to be talking to you also about kind of human behavior and values that I want to pass on to you. Okay? So the next slide here. First thing you need to know is that understanding history is really important. Okay? I think I've told you before that those that don't remember the past are what? They're doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. I hope that we study history to learn how we can do things differently, okay? Both as individuals, but more importantly as a community, as a society, as a democracy in our country. Okay? Does anybody know what this image is? Here?
Oh, it's
memorial.
Yeah. So if you were to go on the Washington, D.C. trip next spring, you will probably go to the Vietnam Memorial. Okay? Let's see. There are also some enduring themes throughout history that I want to share with you. Okay? I have a picture here of the Magna Carta, which was, of course, a document signed in England, one of the earliest sort of democratic documents from which we base our Declaration of Independence, or our Constitution. There's some enduring themes in here about individual rights, okay? About taking power from a monarch and redistributing it to the citizens or the people. So one of the main themes here was what? Habeas corpus, which is the idea that you can't be taken to jail without first having some sort of due process. So somebody saying, here's what you did, we're going to prove it, and here's how you're going to defend you. We'll give you a lawyer to defend yourself. We can't just hold you against your will because we think you might have done something. Okay? So there's the idea of individual rights is a theme throughout history, but there's also something else, and that is responsibility to the community. There's going to forever be this tension between the rights of the individual, such as those outlined in our Bill of Rights, and the needs of the group, of the community. Okay? And that's been most shown to me in recent years with the war on terror, as the government wants to restrict certain ways that we might be able to travel, or certain things that we can do as individuals, because they feel like they're protecting the group. There will always be this tension. Another enduring theme is this idea of power. Who has power? How do they attain power? And how do they keep it? And one of the things I think we've shown throughout class this year is that those in power don't what? They don't give it up easily. It takes a struggle to take power from maybe the few people that have it and to redistribute it to the rest. Okay? Another thing that we learned about this year was the idea of economics. So I tried to teach that in a couple different ways. One would be just by doing the creative economy, where I would give you money for certain things, and then we would hold raffles on Fridays, and I would raise the price continually, and you'd have to adjust. You figure out how to save or spend. Okay? We also did that by learning a little bit about the stock market and playing the stock market contest on how the market works. And I think over the last couple of years, since 2008, as we've been in this great recession, I think many of you have maybe felt that in your lives. I mean, I hope you haven't, but some of you might have in terms of the housing market and jobs that your parents might have. So just know that economics affects everything. Right? Let's take a look at the next one here. Okay, geography. We did a lot of geography this year, especially on Fridays, or at the beginning of a new unit, we would have like a geography challenge. And so I just ask that you think about your world and that you travel the world, or that you get to know the world virtually online. You have such an awesome opportunity with the technology nowadays to see new places and to see new people. But more than using the technology would be to actually go to different places around the globe and travel and meet people and expand your horizons in that way. So I hope you understand the importance of geography. Okay, now we get to technology. One of my passions this year has been to help you use technology in education. I know you use it in your life outside of school. I didn't want to force you to have to power down or turn off when you come to class. I wanted to utilize your talent with technology and put it to use in school. So we start off with Edmodo, a social networking site for education. And I hope that you'll convince your teachers in future years to use that as well. I really enjoyed seeing how you guys would communicate with each other and you would answer questions related to class. I didn't have to be the one always answering the questions because the wisdom of the group came into play. I hope you enjoyed using your blog through edublogs.org. This was the first group of students I was able to actually institute some sort of blogging with. Okay? I had this video I was going to show, but it's not showing up. But I showed this video to your parents on curriculum night, and what it shows are some students holding up some whiteboards with writing on it, and they're talking about how much they use technology outside of school. And then it says, but in class I don't get to. I really want to be able to use a wiki or use a blog or create a podcast. And I told your parents, I want to be the kind of teacher that allows students and encourages students to do those things, because I believe it's going to be a skill you're going to need in the future. We call those 21st century skills. Okay? Finally, you guys, not related to academics, but in terms of values and behavior, I tried my best to model for you appropriate behavior. So I tried never to raise my voice. I tried not to yell. I might have failed sometimes, but that was my goal. I always tried to be respectful of you and tried not to embarrass you in front of your peers. Okay? I tried to respect you. I tried to be flexible. So when you would come to me with a need, be it for more time on an assignment or for whatever, I tried to honor that and say that, you know what, I value the quality of your work so much that I'm willing to give you a couple extra days to get it done as long as you do the best that you can. Okay? And I thank you for responding in kind to me with that sort of respect. I appreciated that. And then lastly, the final thing I have for you is this, is that you have to accept yourself before you can accept others. It's really important that you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I'm okay with who I am, with my faults, with my blemishes, as well as with what I know I'm good at, my strengths and my talents. Because once you can acknowledge who you are and accept yourself, then you can be accepting of all other people. If you think about it, the people that are bullies and that put others down and do those sorts of things, the reason is that they don't have an acceptance of themselves, so they have to cut down other people in order for themselves to feel better, and that's just not the way to do it, you know? So lastly, I'd like to read to you the Man in the Glass with props to my ninth grade football coach, Mr. Mueller. Okay? And this is an unknown author. It's called The Man in the Glass. You could insert woman or boy or girl instead of man. It would be fine. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to a mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife or brother or sister or aunt or uncle or whomever whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. Excuse me. Some people might think you're a straight-shooting chum and call you a wonderful guy. But the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you're past your most dangerous test if the guy in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. So I wish you guys all the best, and I know you're going to be successful. Thanks for a good year. You got it?